Hey guys, it's Donna with Resale Tips and Tales, and today I'm bringing you an important video of the top 10 must-haves to be a successful seller on eBay. So you may be wondering, what do I need to have? Well, today I'm going to talk about what professional personality traits that I feel like are very important to be successful on eBay. eBay is not necessarily an easy business, and it's also not a business for everybody. So hopefully these tips are some areas that you can work on if you're trying to improve your eBay business or any online business for that matter. Number one, you must love to shop. So that might sound obvious to some people, but if you're going to be selling things on eBay, you have to find a way to source your items. So it doesn't always mean you have to go to a thrift store to shop. You can also go to other retail stores. Some people do what's called retail arbitrage, and you look at all the clearance departments at your local retail stores. Another way you can shop is by going to your local yard sales. That's an amazing way to get discounted items for your inventory. If you don't like any of those ideas, you can also go to antique shops. Antique shops, sometimes they don't know what they have, and you can also find some great inventory that way. If you don't want to leave the comfort of your home, you can always do some online shopping. There's a lot of companies that have clearance departments online, or sometimes you can find things even on eBay that people are selling at a lower price that you're able to flip and sell for a higher price. There's also Craigslist, Facebook, shopping groups, so there's a lot of things online that you can do. There's also auction houses, so if you love the thrill of doing an auction and competing against somebody in a live situation, look for local auction houses. And then the other thing is estate sales. There's tons of estate sales. There's kind of like yard sales, but on a larger scale typically. Maybe somebody's passed away or a home has been foreclosed, and there's items in the home, so you can go and look through somebody's house and purchase items. Sometimes they do it in an auction form, and sometimes it's in a yard sale form. So be creative in your inventory. You also can do some wholesaling sources once you get a little bit bigger. So don't narrow your options. Make sure that you look at all of your avenues to get your inventory. So you must have a love for shopping. Tip number one. Tip number two, you must love what you're listing. So when I first started out, I realized that I was going to be more successful if the items I'm spending my time on are things that I love myself. So I started with shoes when I started selling on eBay. And that way I got excited and I stayed excited. So it kind of gave me that motivation to list the next thing. I'll be honest with you, if my husband finds something that he wants me to list, I dread it. It sits on my floor forever waiting to be listed because I'm not excited about it. So find what you're passionate about. Find out what you love and spend your time on that, especially when you're getting started. You can branch out into some other areas that maybe you're not as excited about. Once you become experienced and you're kind of in the know on certain things, branch yourself out. But to start, make sure you must have a love for what you're listing. All right, number three, you must have organization. Now, I have organization by blood, but sometimes you have to learn organization. At a minimum, you at least need to know where your inventory is located. So somehow come up with a system that works for you. There are so many options for inventory organization, and what works for you may not work for the next person. So try to come up with a system, whether it be in totes to alphabetize it. When I started, I used dresser drawers to organize things by brand. You might organize it by women's and men's. Some people do it alphabetically. It just depends again on what works for you. But you want to make sure you're able to pick your inventory quickly so that you can ship it off in time for your customer to be happy. Also, you want to organize your paperwork. I know that's the dreaded part of business, but you have to be organized. You have to track your expenses, so keep your receipts. Again, find what works for you. I love to do things as I go along. It's not as overwhelming, but some people wait. Some people wait till the end of the year and then type all their receipts in. But make sure you stay organized with your paperwork and with your sales and how you track them. All right, so must have organization. All right, number four, you must have a knowledge of your profit margin. I know, again, maybe not the funnest thing. I enjoy doing it because I kind of want to see how I'm coming along with my business. If you don't know how much money you're making, you might be losing money. So making sure that you're tracking your expenses, so everything you purchase, even down to paper and ink for your printer. Make sure you're tracking those items, how much you purchased your items for. Again, everybody does this differently, but find a way that works for you so that you know how much money you're making. So if you're making this a successful business, it's no longer a hobby. So you have to make sure that you know if you're making money, and if you're not making money, where you need to adjust so that your profit margins are better. My profit margins typically are around 50%, and I try to keep it there so that it's worth my time. Okay, so number 5 is you must have time management. Again, maybe not the funnest thing in the world, but for me as a stay-at-home mom, doing eBay sometimes takes away from time I'm spending with my family. So I want to make sure that my time is spent well, and so that the money that I'm spending and the time is appropriate for my business. So I want to make sure that that comes with the organization part too, so that I'm listing the things that are going to have the higher profit margin and the things that I can pick up and that I enjoy doing, because if I'm going to spend time away from my family, I want to make sure I'm enjoying what I am doing. Also, the things that you purchase, make sure you're spending your money wisely, and that goes with time management. So I'm not going to pick up a whole bunch of tiny children's clothing to sell in a bundle, because it takes too much time. I have to organize it all, and I may only get $5 profit. I'd rather look for those items that I'm going to get a $10, $20 profit, because again, you're spending the same amount of time on that item as you would for something you're only going to make $1 with. So make sure you're looking for those high profit items so that your time is spent wisely. Also, try to do those thrift stores on your discount days. So look in your area, find out what the discounts are at the different stores, and make sure that you're maybe combining the days of when you go thrift store shopping so that you're spending your time wisely. Okay, number 6, you must have goals. What does that mean? So to be successful, you need to know where your business is heading. Otherwise, it's just a hobby. So make sure you're thinking about what are my future goals, both short-term and long-term. So you need to actually write it down. Think about your 1-month goal, your 6-month goals, your year goal. You can even go out to 5 years, whatever works for your business. But make sure that they make sense, and make sure they're obtainable. You don't want to say in a month, I'm going to make $10,000 a month. It's just not realistic. So make sure that in a month, maybe you want to reach a $500 mark. Maybe in 6 months, you want to reach a $2,000 mark. Whatever you think is attainable for you, that's realistic, make sure you write them down and post them in a place that you can see them, so that you continue to stay motivated to reach those goals. Now, just because you don't reach the goals doesn't mean you give up either. Sometimes you have to tweak your goals depending on your life circumstances and what are going on. But make sure you make them, like I said, make them reachable. You can do something like, I'm going to make sure I list 100 listings by this month. I'm going to make sure I list 500 listings by 6 months. So whatever works best for you, but make sure you make yourself some goals. Be specific when you write them down. All right, number 7, make sure you must have dedication. So if you're going to treat this like a real business, you need to be dedicated to it. So what does that mean? It means that you're proud of what you're doing, and that you're spending dedicated time each week, each day to improve your business. You want to make sure that you're spending that time wisely, like I said earlier, and not treating it like a hobby. You want to set aside that specific time, and sometimes it is away from your family, but again, we're talking about being successful at this business. Take it seriously, just like you would if you had a job or you're going to your job. You would take it seriously so that you could succeed within your company. Well, now it's your company. So make sure you take your time and dedicate specific time to it. All right, number 8. You must have an eye for details. Okay, so you might have to learn this as you go along, but it is so important to both your business and your customer. So when you're in the stores, making sure you're looking over the clothing or the items that you're purchasing, making sure it's not missing buttons or it has stains or holes. You're just going to waste money if you don't look at the details. Look at them again when you come home, when you're cleaning up the items, and again when you're taking the photographs, because you don't want to miss anything. You want to have the details. Plus, when you're writing your descriptions, making sure you put all the details in your description. A customer doesn't want to get something that has a hole in it, and if you knew about it, why wouldn't you put it in the listing? So it's just going to lead to happy customers. So make sure you're double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking your details. The other thing is detailed paperwork. So again, not the fun side of the business, but making sure that you're checking all of your details, crossing your T's and dotting your I's. All right, number 9, make sure you're honest. So again, this all kind of boils down to my final 10th thing we'll get to, but be honest with your customers. So making sure you're writing very detailed descriptions. If you mess up, confess to it. So if you shipped the wrong item, or let's say you pull something to ship out and has a stain on it you didn't notice before, let the customer know. They don't want you to be dishonest. It's just going to help save your business, keep your customers happy. So be honest. Honesty is the best policy, they say. All right, and number 10, must have great customer service. Okay, so you have to make sure you keep your customers happy. They are what you're in business for, and they're going to keep you in business. Now, with eBay is a very unique type of business model where typically your customers aren't going to come back to you unless you're in a very specialized field. You might. I probably have had some repeat customers, but it's not typical. But you want to keep the customers happy because that's your feedback rating. That's how eBay rates you. So you want to make sure that you're not getting complaints from them. You don't want high return rates, and that all kind of boils down to customer service. You are here to serve them. I love eBay because I feel like I'm on a private search for somebody out there. I may not know who the person is yet, but they could be looking for that one specific item. So I love my customers. I make sure I send packing slips to them. I've heard people that do thank you notes into their packages. So make it a special experience for your customer. All right, guys, so all your top 10s, here they are again. Number 1, must have a love for shopping. Number 2, must have a love for what you're listing. Number 3, must have organization. Number 4, you must have a knowledge of your profit margins. Number 5, make sure you must have time management. Number 6, you must have goals. Set those goals. Number 7, you must have dedication. Number 8, you must have an eye for details. Number 9, be honest, must have honesty. And number 10, you must have great customer service. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you comment below with what your must-haves are for a successful eBay business or any online business. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you can see other videos like this one. I also do a weekly sales video every Tuesday, so make sure you tune in to that. All right, guys, happy thrifting.